E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna Guinwa, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Guinwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. The Messages of Inspirational Stories is proudly brought to you by the good guys at the 6minutewebinar.com. And before I begin, if you see me moving around or doing something like this, I forgot to put Dixie up, my little cat. And for some reason, when I'm on TV like this, she wants to be the star or thinks I owe her attention. I don't know where they get that attitude, that I'm their servant, but that's the way my world turns. But the 6-minute webinar, let me ask you a question. Have you ever struggled with trying to get your message across about the product or service that you offer? Maybe it's a course. Have you ever struggled in trying to put together a presentation if you're going to speak somewhere, even if at a local, event like Kiwanis Club or anything like that? Or if you want to write a book, how can the 6-minute webinar help you? The 6-minute webinar helps you to narrow down the focus so you can communicate precisely to your ideal client. I use it whenever I get ready to do a presentation, when I'm going to be on a summit or something, because it enables me right out of the gate to attract the people who want to listen to me and repel those that I cannot help. That's the very first step in marketing in it. Also, too, a good friend of mine, Mr. Bill Heinrich, The 7 Levels of Truth. This is a fantastic book. Bill, I've known him for, 10 years, I guess. Maybe not that long, 7. But Bill walked away from his life. He was miserable. He had to give up drinking. He had to give up a lot. In fact, he walked away from his life. The only thing that Bill will tell you, the only thing he took away was his name. That was it. But he wanted to find himself. He wanted to find why he was so miserable. So many people in the world today are miserable. And I'm just going to share this on the back cover with you, the exact words, because it's much more powerful than any verbiage I could come up with. Bill wrote that this book is for anyone seeking answers, and they're seeking solutions to find success in life. This is our birthright, it says, in abundance with love, peace, and joy. The 7 levels of truth will allow you to achieve all of these results in your life. The very first thing that I have found in life to be true is that the stepping stone to success is to love yourself first. That is the keystone. Because if you love yourself first, then you can love others, you can forgive others, and also love yourself enough to forgive yourself. That is critically important. It really is. And in life, the thing that I have also learned is that don't sweat the small stuff. Because recently, when I say recently, some time ago, I gave up all of the things in my life that upset me. Because in our world today, we got a lot of negativeness. We've got a lot of meanness, a lot of bad things, evil things that's just being vomited on society. And I realize that does not serve me. If it does not serve me, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I've got to let it go. Because, listen up, if I serve it and become involved with it, it will enslave me. Think about that. And today we got a good friend of mine. We've been on summits together, and Dr. Sofie Nubani, my goodness gracious, I've been trying to get this young lady on the show And between her schedule and my schedule, it's just amazing that we were able to find some time to get together. We've been trying for several weeks, but thank the good Lord, she is here with us. I'm going to welcome Dr. Sofie Nubani to the show. And welcome to the show, young lady. It's such an honor and a pleasure and a blessing for us to have you with us today. How are you?
Excellent. Thank you so much. And it is my pleasure and my honor to share airtime together, and always nice to be around with you.
Well, thank you very much. We're going to have some fun today, but she's going to teach you a lot. I'll just throw in the humor once in a while if I have any. But Dr. Nubani, share with the folks out there a little bit about who you are, where you came from, and a little bit anything you want to about your background. And I know you love cats. I just saw that earlier.
Yes, you met Valentino. I actually had two. There were two brothers, Giovanni and Valentino, and I
Mhm.
lost Giovanni a few years ago,
Mm.
unfortunately. So, yes, I do. A little bit about me. Yes, I'm originally from the Middle East. I was born in Amman, Jordan,
Mhm.
and I lived in different parts of the world in the globe: North Africa, Middle East, Mediterranean, Cyprus, by grace,
Mhm.
US. Currently, for the past 27 years, I have been here, and particularly in Florida. I am a creatrix, interpersonal executive coach, a global consultant, and
Mhm.
advisor to a few organizations,
Mm.
and an author, speaker, and trainer as well. So
Mm.
I would say that would sum it up a little bit. And humanitarian by heart. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is the foundation of who she loves when it comes to loving humanity and having a love for a fellow man and woman. But you mentioned you were an author. Do you by chance have one of your books there, or a couple of your books you could share with the audience? Just hold it up, just like I did with Bill Heinrich's book, The Seven Levels of Truth.
Oh,
Share it with
sure.
us.
Well, you can see them in the background, but yeah,
Mm.
let me get.
Yeah, give us a close up of it.
This is Optimize Your Creative Mindset, Unleash the
Okay.
Power of Your Imagination.
Okay.
And Optimize Your Creative Mindset is an award winning book, actually. It had won 3 awards. And the categories
Mm.
it was classified under was popular psychology, cognitive psychology, creativity, and genius.
Hmm.
And my second would be Hide No More, which is actually a recent release. Hide No More is only a few months old. It was inspired by a breast cancer campaign that had brought
Mm.
the attention of many corners of the globe. I had lost my mother to cancer, so it has a
Mm.
soft place to my heart, among many other things, but particularly because I witnessed her go through that, unfortunate journey, and she passed on. And so I always had this way, like, how can you be of good service when people are
Oh
going
yeah.
such hard times? And this was classified in breast cancer, women's general health, and art therapy. So it
Wow.
of latest technologies on cancer, art therapy. It had a poem that got published in many different articles, and that was the original inspiration of getting it into a book form and talking about the journey. So yeah,
Mm.
those two are out. Of course, I co-authored other four, and they were bestsellers as well. Very nice,
Mm.
with amazing leaders and authors as well. So
Yeah.
that's that.
Oh yeah, that's an amazing book because as you were talking about it, remind me of Tamara Hunter, a good friend of mine. She's got a journal. She teaches about journaling, because she went through, cancer treatment and she's a cancer survivor. We're thankful for that. But one of the things that she put in there, have your chocolate day, and you may not have a piece of chocolate, but you should treat yourself, and, one day set it aside or whatever. She does a wonderful job on that because she went through chemotherapy, and her and a friend. And that's one of the wonderful things about being an author is that everyone has a story in them. And being able to share your story with others think about it like this. It's important because you may be the only person out there that someone can connect with. I know everybody wants to have a best selling book and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about sharing your story to be a blessing to others and let
And
the energy carry it. Is that good advice, Dr. Sophie?
yes, and just to bring to your awareness, you mentioned Tamra Hunter and chemo buddies.
Hmm.
Actually, healing through connection. I have a whole
Hmm.
section right here on Tamra Hunter and chemo buddies.
Yes.
She was a part of the campaign
Hmm.
that I was in, and I was
Wow.
president of IAA Live for the U.S. chapter, and all
Mm.
the artists were donating artwork to support this campaign,
Mm.
and it really had moved a lot of hearts and gotten a lot of recognition from many different authorities and countries and governments as well.
Hmm.
So yeah, she's actually in the book
I'll
talking about
be
Tamara.
doggone. I didn't
Of
know
course,
that.
I know your friend because
Oh
you
yeah,
love
I didn't
her.
know that. And that's one of the wonderful things about, being aligned with people in your tribe, or they call it today, or let's say people, I call it my inner group, people that I want to be known with, people I want to have as friends because they think like I do. And most importantly, they'll be there for you in your hour of need. And they love you enough when you goof up, they'll forgive you. How about that one? That's the icing on the cake right there.
Amen.
But Tamara, she was the reason why we actually got on this TV show, E360 TV, because we started out um, back in the March of 2000, 2020, excuse me, right after the pandemic that shut down and the world's coming to an end. We're all going to run out of toilet paper and all that stuff.
Oh yes.
And Bill Heinrich, the author of this book here, The 7 Levels of Truth, I'm going to put Bill's website up there in a minute. But Bill says we had a meeting with me, him, Tom, Don McGrath, and Tamara Hunter was in that meeting too. And Bill says, wait a minute, time out. We need to address this pandemic. There's a lot of people that's hurting right now. They're scared. We need to put on a show. We need to call it Messages of Inspiration, Hope, and Support was the original name. And so Tamara says, I can do this. And Don says, I can do that. Bill says, I can do this. And Don says, Jim, yeah, you can host it. Oh, okay, I can do that. And so we started, Facebook, and Zoom and Facebook, wow, we had a show. We had a bunch of speakers on, and this dominoed on. It had its own energy. And then I think it was in August of 2020, somewhere along in there, Tamara called me one Saturday morning early because she saw I was up and I'd communicated with her a little bit. And she says, can you talk? And I was like, sure. So we talked, and she says, you need to take your show to E360 TV. And I said, what's E360 TV? Never heard of it, didn't know anything about it. And, that's how it all began. And the point in me sharing that long, boring story with you folks is that all you have to do is follow the energy, because the energy will lead you down the pathway of life from where you are to where you need to be. And just make choices along the way. Don't make decisions, because decisions have a way of mentally blocking you up because everything's going to fit inside this decision box. That doesn't work too well. I learned that the hard way too. And let me put your website up there again. Your website is Dr. Nubani's website, drsophienubani.com. Be sure and go to her website and check out what she does there. She's a wonderful lady, and we're so honored to have her here. And I want to get more into the reason why she's here, because I know she's going to be sharing some things about, one of the things I like for her to talk about is the culture, the importance of culture. And I'd like for her to share a little bit about that, if you would, please.
Oh, I love that topic.
Mm-hmm.
I do teach on a stream of cultural intelligence in
Hmm.
a stream for creative intelligence that is endorsed by United Nations, along with other professors, including Moai and Dr. Jim Friedman. He's a professor out of Miami as well. Many amazing professors.
Mm-hmm.
And my part that I like to highlight a lot of the times is on cultural intelligence. And especially today with our fast-paced moving with technology, and the fact that many of our transactions are initiated on Zoom calls prior to
Hmm.
meetings in person, and some are conducted fully A to Z through such virtual appearance and communication. And
Hmm.
so the faster we can learn about a culture, the faster we dissolve those heart walls and we become more engaged and connected with those that we are either buying or selling or trying to connect with for
Hmm.
products or services. A.
Yeah.
B. Culture as a culture in an organization and or corporation is going to be a vital role of its sustainable success, uh,
Hmm.
because you might sometimes win temporarily by just creating a very unethical work conduct and transactions, but after a while it won't last. And that's why
Hmm.
you see few corporations are always under different names and bankrupt, because what
Hmm.
they do is they go on a fast selling or getting their transactions going, get the money and then close it, open another thing, and
Hmm.
that kind of treadmill go pace of success is very temporarily, and
Hmm.
really not the way to go, and or at least not the way that I would like to spread awareness on true accomplishment of success that you can feel honored and proud and
Oh,
teach
yeah.
as a legacy as well.
Absolutely. Because, in the past, I've had people ask me, or, questions, and I'll say, well, what is it you really want to do? I want to make money. That is the most horrible answer that you can give, and I'll tell you why. Money is the reward for your honest efforts. And if money is your driving force, then you're coming from it from a negative perspective. You should look positively and say, okay, whether it's my book, whether it's a product I invented, whether it's a course that I created, how can this bless people out there? How can I be a blessing to others? Your entire focus should be on how can you help someone improve their life, either through the book or an invention or a course that you may have. And then what will happen? The energy will reward you with success. That's how you feel good because you have integrity, you have honor, and not in a how can I say this? And I always like to say you can walk with a swagger, but I don't mean anything about pride or anything like that. I'm talking about having a good feeling in your heart with a satisfied mind. That is the things that money cannot buy, nor can any thief break in and steal from you. That's where I look at life anyway. I'm just no dumb country boy.
Intent and integrity are very, very important and a
Hmm.
foundation of anyone that is operating on a professional level, because
Yes.
intention creates meaning. And what you just shared is absolutely resonating, because uh, in talking walking with a swag, it's walking conscious free. We create our
Hmm.
own paths by the choices we make on a daily basis.
Oh
So
yeah.
start with intent,
Hmm.
and that sets the pace for everything else that follows it, and
Hmm.
all the great character that a person would like
Mm.
to embody and practice.
Oh.
Integrity is very, very, very important, and especially today's times, because people are losing trust,
Oh.
start having a low trust culture.
Hmm.
TV Covens just one, that's a book, Trust Speed Trust or something. I can't remember exactly, but it
Hmm.
was amazing, and it was published in the A90,
Oh
I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really very amazing because it talks about behavior and
Mm.
also being having the character, and how can people trust you fast. It just doesn't come
Amen.
like that. It's how you carry yourself, how you behave, and all that starts with intent and integrity.
It really does. As you're talking, I don't know why, but the idea came to me, and I always believe when you're visiting like this and ideas come to you, it comes from a higher source. And because when you share that with others, it's because maybe there might be one person out there in TV land that may need to hear this. And this is what I've shared with others before. I don't think I've shared it on the TV show before, but anyway, with others I have. I said, let go of all the things that's negative in this world. As I said in the opening statement there about, if it doesn't serve you, you become its slave. But look at it like this. I have a couple of fireplaces in my house. In wintertime, I love, to have the wood in there because I live on 8.5 acres. I like, sitting there drinking my coffee in the morning with the fireplace when it's nice and quiet, But when I stop feeding the fireplace with wood, putting more wood in there, guess what happens to the fire? It eventually burns and goes out. The
Yes.
same principle, ladies and gentlemen, is true once I pull back from all this negativeness we see, all of this, the things that are so undesirable in life is being shoved at us. If I get involved with that and I start sharing my opinion, guess what I'm doing? I'm adding fuel to the fire. If you want that fire to go out, don't feed it any fuel. Don't give it any of your energy. Does that make sense, Dr. Sofie?
Yes, what we focus on, we prioritize, and that
Yeah.
directs our attention and
Mhm.
focus and energy flow.
Yeah.
So we have to realize that there are things that could be looked as negative, but they may be important to address and face.
Hmm.
And there are things we have to go and follow the philosophy of it takes two fools to argue. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
just have to literally let it go and walk away. So
Hmm.
there's times when you're helping by speaking up, maybe teaching a
Right.
lesson or sharing a message or experience. But
Hmm.
others, you're going to be really depleting your energy.
Hmm.
And also, it can create higher cortisol levels. And now
Yeah.
it accelerate. And before you know it, you're in
Hmm.
a place that you could have avoided from the very get go.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
don't add wood to the fire. Don't feed it.
Yeah. That's my country boy way of saying it. She said it much more elegantly than I can. But it's really amazing. After I made that decision, I was a lot happier with myself, and it enabled me, without any effort on my behalf, to attract other things that were positive. They came to me because once you give up the negative energy, then the positive energy's got some room to come in. But if you're
Yes.
full of negative energy, it's like having a gallon bucket. If it's full of water, you can't put a gallon of milk in there. you know, there's just no room for it. You got to get rid of the water if you want a gallon of milk in there. Again, I'm a country boy. I grew up on a farm, so I tell people I use expressions in country English. But that being said, it's important for you to let go of everything that robs you of your creativity, your health, your happiness, your energy. It robs you of you being you. You were born a winner. You were born to be loved. I teach in one of my classes the LLAR system. The first L stands for everyone wants to be loved. Every person on planet Earth wants to be loved. The second L stands for like. Everyone wants to be liked. The third letter, the A, stands for appreciated. Everyone wants to be appreciated. And I tell people the letter R stands for respect. And that was the number one song by Aretha Franklin back in 1967 when I graduated from high school. And I was convinced that Aretha Franklin knew I did not know how to spell respect because she spelled it out for me, RESPECT. But that is the LLAR system. Everyone wants to be loved, liked, appreciated, and respect. And if we look at that towards others, and if you want to take it to a higher level, I say this all the time. DNA is proved that every man, woman, and child on planet Earth can trace their roots back to one mother and one father. So therefore, I look at everybody as either my brother or my sister from a different mother. And I think that's the right attitude we should look at others, even people that we disagree with. You know, we'll love them enough to give them some room and love, like, appreciate, respect. And, you know, that's my philosophy in life. Like I said, I'm just a simple country boy, you know. And I know that Dr. Sofie, she has done so much tremendous work. And I want to hear, she talked a little bit about inspiring higher trust in a culture, but the importance of having good models, good leadership, good people in organizations, that is critical, isn't it?
Absolutely. And creating models in an organization allows to having mentors and creating mentors into that organization. And leadership is very key to the success of an individual in their life, because what it starts with self, really. And once we really have that awareness and understand more of the things that we can work on ourselves with, we're going to be better leaders as well as team players, because you know, everywhere it can be that every single person is leading, because there has to be delegation, instructions, and also feedback for growth, because we crawl before we walk, and some people are better skilled at certain areas than others, and therefore their role will require a different way of approaching and also delivering, communicating, and delegating, collaborating. All those things are very crucial in the success of any team, really.
Yeah.
So I do believe in the importance of models, and also, you know, the right framework of asking questions and getting feedback as well, because that is the only way we can have constructive progress. And
Yes.
yeah.
You're absolutely correct. When you're talking about that, reminds me of, you know, way back during my instructor days, I was an instructor in the reserves for the U.S. Army, and I graduated with 3 instructor training courses and still didn't know how to instruct, so I had to, you know, wing it myself. But that's a joke. But anyway, we used to teach, list down on one, take a sheet of paper when you go through anything, an exercise or an event, whatever. And on the left-hand side, put down what went well. And then on the other side, put down the lessons that you learned. Because if you're not learning lessons, you're not improving. It's impossible to go and grow. And that's why, like Dr. Sofie said, you know, get you some good positive feedback. I know some people, they don't want anybody to say anything, you know, negative or give them feedback. And you've got to embrace that, because none of us are perfect. And if we really want to grow and be led to the next higher level of our natural pathway of life that we were created to travel, we have to grow from our mistakes. And if you never make a mistake, you can never grow. The way I look at it, so I should be really, you know, full grown by now, but I'm still growing. You know. But it's so critical to have good, positive mentorship, because in my life, I was very blessed. I grew up on a farm in North Carolina, and I tell people, truthfully, I tell people, we didn't know we were poor till we went to town. But I say that in good humor, because the things we had in our life, the family, the friends, even my teachers in grade school, they were wonderful people. My 4th grade teacher was probably my favorite. Her name was Jewel Blanton. And I've often said, when her parents gave her first name Jewel, it was a perfect name for her. She was just a princess of a lady, and all fronts. And she had the unique gift of making learning fun. I
Yes.
enjoyed going to school in fourth grade. Fifth grade was a little bit of a different story, but we're not going to go there. My teacher's husband worked on the same line crew as my dad, and every little thing that I did got transferred to him. And got,
Your
anyway.
dad had more eyes over there watching
Let
you.
me just say I was very motivated to get through the fifth grade because I got more whippings in that fifth grade than I would have got in any 3-year period.
Oh.
But, you think about the mentors in your life. And also, there's one other person I just want to mention. I don't know if he's even alive, probably dead and gone. But back in 1968, I had a drill sergeant in the United States Army. And Drill Sergeant Blaylock, I never will forget him. And you normally think of drill sergeants in the military as being like half human and half bulldog. This was not this gentleman. He actually had kind of a soft spoken voice. I never heard him use a 4-letter word. He had enough respect for himself and had enough integrity. And he walked with a swagger without pride now. He walked with a swagger. And he would say, gentlemen, this is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it. And we all listened to him, and we did it. And like he said, I remember he told me one time, he says, just remember one thing. Everything in the military is uniform. It's got to fit. And that's just the way he was. He taught us how to be soldiers. He taught us how to be, and my 8 weeks I spent in basic training I enjoyed it. I mean, it was kind of tough, getting up, 4 o'clock in the morning, stuff like that. That's no cakewalk. But I mean, I did not experience any of the things of seeing someone get hit, knocked down. I did see one soldier get hit and knocked down, but he had a motor mouth on him. And after they told him 3 or 4 or 500 times, you better shut up, they shut him up. But that was he earned that one. But my point being, I look at all the mentors in my life, and I'm grateful because they help shape me. The question is, in your life, you're going to be a mentor to someone. And you owe it to those people that look up to you, whether they're kids or adults, it makes no difference. Being a mentor is ageless because it's who you are, it's the way you're wired, and it's the value you bring to someone's life. That's what makes you a true mentor. Did I say that pretty good, Dr. Sofie?
Absolutely. And it demonstrates also why you chose to mention him, the sergeant back here, is
Yeah.
because he had humility, and that is a strong trait of a leader, a servant leader. And
Yeah.
that always stays as a print in your life, and
Oh, yeah.
always you will recall a lot of the great qualities that he demonstrated at an age that you were really growing and developing as your own adult and leader to others as well. So that was good. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I remember one time I was in formation and we were getting inspected and my boots were shine, my uniform looked good. And he says, gig line's the only problem you got. Gig line? What's a gig line? And it's where where the shirt button's got the lapel. The lapel goes down and then it goes, lined up directly with the edge of the buckle, goes straight down with the flap and the zipper. That's the gig line. I looked at mine, it was all off. And to this day, when I get ready to go somewhere, my gig line is in order. Let me tell you that. It's just amazing how little things like that stick with you. But,
Sure.
and every time I look at that gig line, I think of him.
Wow.
And it's a precious memory. He's one of those people in life that, when you hope and you know that you're going to see them again, and what a wonderful reunion it will be. And he will not know what a positive impression he made on my life. And one day I'll get a chance to tell him that. And I look forward to that. That's beautiful. And that's important in life to you folks out there in TV land. If there's someone that's been an encouragement to you or someone's been a blessing to you, get out of texting, call them, and let them know, speak to them. Because right now we got another pandemic on our hand. A lot of people don't know it's called textually transmitted disease. When we're all texting, we really are. And that is so impersonal. We lose touch of how to communicate with people, especially the ones we love and family and friends that we love. And my goodness gracious, life's too short for that. It really is.
I'm talking about that between the Alpha generation and the Gen Zs, we are going to have a very big gap when you talk between Generation X and also, the baby boomers and the silent generation communicating.
Oh, yeah.
Because when an alpha is growing, they're at 4 years old and they have an account on Instagram, and they're 2 years old and they're playing with the cameras of their smartphones of their parents, knowing how to actually press and take a picture.
Wow.
Right? So what happens is when those are growing, these kids are growing, and that's all their world is: texting, talking
Mm.
Siri and Alexa. And what do you expect their communication skills are like when it comes to delivering messages, our teaching and speaking
Wow.
as an adult? And not only that, because they'll probably figure something out at one point with technology for their generation. But
Mm-hmm.
how about the integration of
Mm.
interpersonal skills between the generations? So there you go now. Someone like myself, yourself, look at our kids, some grandkids, and so forth. And then it's just another language almost
Mm-hmm.
of socializing.
Oh, yeah.
So social intelligence is going to be taught in a different way for better results to happen, for global connection and communication. So yes, that is something that is needed to be addressed more for the youth as well, and
Mm-hmm.
also for the elder to be able to find a bridging way to fill this gap in the most efficient and productive way.
Mm. Absolutely. I agree with you because my goodness gracious, you see people, and we all do it. I mean, growing up, I remembered the telephone numbers of people, family and friends. I had it stored in my head. Now I don't can't remember anything because I relied on my phone. It's really sad when you stop and think about it.
Yes.
And of course, in the old days, when the phone would ring, you try to run to it because we didn't have answering machines, believe it or not. We did have the forward pass in football now, you understand that. But we didn't have answer machines, and you try to get there, and oh my goodness, who was that? I don't know. So you call everybody from the number stored in your head to make sure you didn't miss a call, because we didn't have telemarketers back in those days. When someone called you, it was for a reason, and you
Yes.
didn't want to miss that reason. And it could have been to wish you a happy birthday. It could have been to invite you to something. It could have been for whatever reason, but it was a bona fide, legit reason. That was why we responded. Nowadays, we get a text, we look at it, okay, and we forget about it, sometimes, and we get 40,000 other texts and it gets buried. Oh my gosh, I forgot all about that. We are
Yes.
totally disconnected. And that's really just, puts a huge disservice to us as human
What's
beings.
happening is we become a society that is more connected on technology, media platforms, and
Yeah.
phones. We are in actual person and human. And, though there is pros and cons to everything out there, but one of the things that, people will really miss and know is that there's nothing that's, as much as it is helpful, don't get me wrong. There are times where,
Mhm.
your smart car can remind you of things more on some days than you would have thought. Like, why isn't the door closing? Well, the keys are inside and it's smart, it's not
Mhm.
going to close.
Yeah.
But, stuff like that. However, there's nothing that's going to replace the care,
Oh,
the
yeah.
connection, the intuition, the all these things that are only going to be experienced through a relationship from one person to the other,
Oh,
and
yeah.
truly has a blessing. And this is why it's not a one man's land, it island. It just is. We are social beings, and we're
Mhm.
created in that way. Therefore,
Oh,
when
yeah.
we go away from nature and our natural progress and way of evolving,
Mhm.
then we suffer. and we
Yes,
start
we do.
having issues like loneliness, depression,
Hmm.
anxiety, and all these pills, and psychologists, psychiatrists dealing with a nation that is really going so much backwards in their emotional temperature and regulation as well.
Oh, yeah. I love the way you say that about going so backwards. And give you a prime example. How many times have you gotten in your car and you're going to barrel it down? I mean, ride downtown. I shouldn't say barrel it. We're going to ride downtown, and you forget your cell phone. Oh, goodness, I forgot my cell phone. And it happens to me from time to time. But I've said to myself, I really don't need that because I remember a time when we didn't have phones. I remember driving across country. I didn't have phones. I mean, I didn't even have air conditioning in my car. So that's where you do the joke about the 455 air conditioning, four windows down, 55 miles an hour. Of course, back in those days in the 70s, we were running about we were driving a little faster than 55. Let me just say that and I'll leave it there. But think about, when you get ready to go somewhere and you forgot your cell phone. It's kind of like, oh my goodness, I forgot my cell phone. So ask yourself this question. Two words. So what? Is that going to stop your world from turning? Is that going to stop the sun from shining, rising in the east and setting in the west and shining on you during the day? Is that going to take any oxygen or any breaths away from you or any heartbeats out of your veins? No. But we become, so brainwashed into thinking we can't live without it. And I went into a men's room one time, and here is a guy. I don't want to sound, be disrespectful to the ladies out there. Here's a guy using the restroom. I'll just say that. He's looking at his cell phone. I'm going like, are you kidding me? I mean, it's, I tell you, maybe his elevator didn't go to the top floor. I don't know. But I mean, there are just some things that you just got to draw the line on. Because anything that does not serve you, you become its slave. That's one thing I keep thinking over and over and over. And I don't want to serve something that doesn't serve me. I don't want
Yes.
to be associated with anything like it because if it serves me, then I have enough, an abundance of love and things of this nature to share it with others. Kind of like a buffet of life is the way I look at it. Come and dine. I've got plenty I want to share with you. And that's my philosophy. That's the way I live my life now. Because, age 74, I'm not running for anything. I'm not running from anything. So I certainly can't impress anybody. So forget that one.
Oh no. All
But
the great
I,
work that you're
yeah,
doing.
I have a little warped sense of humor. But, the important thing I wanted to share on that topic or on that thought was that don't become a slave to something. Don't live in fear because I wouldn't say it's fear if you got your phone, but it kind of like, oh my goodness, I forgot my cell phone. So what? So what?
You see,
And
the
I don't.
psychology behind cell phones is very deep.
Yeah.
And what happened because of the creating of the smartphone and all the, some people function as a business on their phone, their email, their media platforms, their everything. And what happens on a deeper level, it is the need, which is a basic need of all humans, the need for connection.
Mm-hmm.
And once we are able to really develop and understand the deeper way of connecting to self,
Oh yeah.
then we have less desperation for
Mm.
the need and desperation to connect with everything else
Mm-hmm.
on that level. So
Yeah.
it goes into levels. So this way of feeling completely unable to function, also compared to someone like you're just advising, hey, just say so what. um, the dopamine levels when you anticipate a praise or a message or a connection or a communication back from a platform
Mm-hmm.
increase, and they become so much higher.
Hmm.
So this is the association with the phone. It became an essential tool for their lives and all our lives, many people's lives, which is fine because it's helping in many ways as well. But so long as we don't get attached,
Mm.
be completely disconnected from our own identity as
Hmm.
a core for who we truly are as a
Hmm.
person, not what we have been really conditioned to be
Hmm.
based on the tools that are given for convenience. And therefore, once you master that, again, not being a slave, but the master of your mind directing, the soul is the boss. So
Hmm.
when you can be in that awareness, you can self lead, and lots of great things happen on many different incidents that you have to make choices on at that
Mm.
particular moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like the way you put that because it's so well said. And in life too, down the pathway of life, we can all look at things that we've asked for, we thought we wanted, we thought we needed, or something. And you look in the rearview mirror of life, you go, "Thank you, sweet Jesus, I didn't get that." Because that's why we need to trust ourselves and have faith in ourselves and realize that the energy is going to lead us down the pathway of life. And that's why I say never make decisions, just make choices in life, because that is so critical in life. That was a hard lesson for me to learn. It really was because I'm gonna share this here, and Sophie may laugh at me, but I've always got my list of things I got to do, right? And for many, many years, especially when I was in my manufacturing business, I had my list of things I had to get done, and I'd work at it. Of course, things would be going on during the day and just like life. And at the end of the day, I used to punish myself. I didn't look at the things that I got done and feel good and reward myself on the inside about that. What I did was punish myself. Yeah, you didn't get this done. You didn't get that done. Here again, ask yourself that two-word question: so what? You've got to learn how to keep everything in perspective. Don't let your highs get emotionally high, and don't let your lows get emotionally low. Take a deep breath and relax. Let the slack come out of the chain of life, and you can always pull your load. You really can. I don't know why I felt inspired to share that with someone out there in TV land, but there might be someone out there that can say, "Hey, thanks, Jim, I needed that." And that's what this show is all about. And Sophie, knowing you over the years and the way that the thing that really impresses me about you is that you're very, educated and very wise, but you're able to communicate and tell people the truth without them getting offended. I wish I had that gift. I don't have that gift, folks, but this young lady does. And I just wanted to, just
Oh,
mention that to you. And I just wanted to salute you on that because
but
that comes from my higher calling. That's above my pay grade, is what I'm saying.
many blessings. Thank you. Thank you for
Mhm.
that. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I really believe when we are aligned with our
Mhm.
guiding principles and core values,
Oh, yeah.
speaking truth becomes easy because it's part of your walk of life, and it's not things that you have to think of. And what
Yeah.
happens when you're genuine, when you
Mm.
deliver, again, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, is a true saying. And that's really what can really make it the biggest difference
Mhm.
on having someone wanting to even listen or learn or
Mhm.
even respect,
Yes.
what your presence at the moment or not.
Mhm. You are absolutely correct because I love that what you say about people. They really want to know that you care. That is the apex of the mountain there. That really is because that's no matter who you are or who you're dealing with. You want to know if you're dealing with a business, they care about you. How many times you call up customer service, you can't talk to a human being?
Yes.
I actually told AT&T, you folks ought to be ashamed of yourself. And the guy says, why? I says, you're in the communication business. And I got to talk to a computer. Says, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. And we've all been there. But see, that's a classic example of how not being able to communicate and how not being able to connect and how, I want someone to, if I approach them with a problem, I want that to have the trust in that person that they care enough about me. They're going to help me get, if they can, from where I am to where I need to be. And they've also got the courage and the inner strength, the backbone, as I call it, being a retired master sergeant, the backbone to say, Jim, I can't help you, but I do know of a person that can help you and refer you on. That really, the respect level I have for that person is just off the chart.
And that is one of the strongest and most characters of being courageous, is the first of anything. And it's so true, because without that, nothing really can develop or happen or be, chosen altogether.
Yeah. And we got about 5 minutes left. Let's wrap up this show here. I'm on your website, drsofieNubani.com. And let's talk about your website. And I click on it, ladies and gentlemen. It says, let's co-create and innovate the life you desire. Oh, my goodness gracious. Not the life you want, but the life you desire. My goodness gracious. That's a big difference there. And start your journey. And my goodness gracious, there it's got a very nice picture of Dr. Sofie, and best-selling author, certified NLP trainer and coach, master practitioner, certified social and emotional intelligence coach. Oh my goodness. I could never be a certified social and emotional intelligence coach because I'm missing one part of that. That's the intelligent level.
Oh, no.
And then she's also a certified motivational coach, a certified Reiki. Is that 3 to the 3rd degree teacher? Am I reading that right? It looks like Reiki 111.
Yeah.
Maybe that's 3rd degree. Okay. Certified EFT/TFT practitioner. Certified laughter yoga. Now I could, sign me up for that one there. I can do that one. Yeah. I mean, I won't even have to go to night school on that one.
Doing it. You're naturally, you're certified by nature.
Oh yeah. That's right. Certified. Earn that, honestly. And also certified speaking facilitator through transformational services. And my goodness gracious, she goes into, there's a lot more. Flow into your creative zone, speaking, training, coaching. My goodness gracious. The NLP Pro Plus certification. I mean, goodness gracious, I got to ask you one question. I mean, there's more there too. When do you come up for air? When do you, what do you do to rest, relax, and take some time off,
Nature. I love nature a lot, and I do make time for that. Mm-hmm. It is very important for me to recharge and rejuvenate. Mm-hmm. And during the course of every day, I like to make some time to clear my energy, my thoughts, and reset my mindset. Even if it's a few minutes a day, I'm very conscious of doing that. Mm-hmm. Also, before bedtime, I work a lot with auto-suggestion and subconscious commands as well. So that kind of balanced things out for me.
Oh, yeah, that's very wise. It really is. And I relate to a lot of that. And I'm going to scroll down here. I'm looking for a particular website because I talk about this a lot. I met this gentleman when I was 17 years of age, and Mr. Earl Nightingale. I knew who he was. He was on the radio all the time, had that deep, gravelly voice. But yeah, I met him one time. I sure did.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had pulled into the service station there close to my house, and right up the road from my house, not even a half a mile, and his car was overheating. He came in, and what impressed me about Mr. Earl Nightingale was that he went over to the payphone and called someone and says, I'm going to be a little bit late. My car is overheating, and I'll call you and let you know when I'm ready to go. And he went over and sat down because we had let DeWitt, the owner of the station, had let the car cool off and all that because it was, real hot. And like I say, I was at 17, The only thing I was interested in was the cars and girls, and I had a car, nice one, you know, a Ford Fastback '64 Galaxy 500 Fastback. Didn't have any girls though, you know. I never got mad about it, you know. But my point was, I was just too young and too dumb to appreciate who he was, his life journey, and what the contribution he was making to society.
Oh my
And
God.
to give you an example, you can go to YouTube and you can Google or search on YouTube, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And if you're in a country that does not allow YouTube in, just go to your search engine and put in The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. You'll probably or hopefully can download a PDF file, and it's verbatim. And if not, and you still like to get a copy of it, because I'm telling you, Mr. Nightingale, and we're totally out of time, he really he really takes the slack out of the chain. Just email us at inspiration@e360tv.com. One of our staff members will get it, and we'll make sure that you get a copy of that PDF.
Oh,
Sofie, we could carry this on for a couple more hours, couldn't we?
yes.
But I want to personally thank you today for taking time out of your busy schedule to be a guest with us here on our show. It's really an honor for us to have a class lady like you on our show. And I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and pleasure for me to participate and be part of this great community that you are building and have as well. And I am cheering for your success and growth and always supporting great messages and themes that you actually share with all of us. Blessings.
Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We want to thank you so much for tuning in and thanking you for helping us become one of the more popular shows, we might say, on E360 TV. But bottom line is, remember one thing, you are worthy of being loved. Embrace that. Don't let anyone tell you any different. And make sure you love yourself enough that you can love others, and love others enough in times when you have to forgive them. And also love yourself enough so you can forgive yourself when you goof up. And because we've all fallen short of that one there, you know, we're harder on ourselves sometimes we are on others, but be sure and love yourself enough to say, okay, I made a mistake, but I'm going to go on. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you so much for tuning in. And on behalf of Sofie and myself, we sincerely hope that you and your loved ones are healthy, happy, and blessed in all areas of your life. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.